So this offense has blown two decent starts in a row. On Tuesday night, it was Hunter Brown. Not a great start from Brown, but good enough to get a win. Last night, it was Rodel Blanco giving the Astros exactly what they needed. 6 innings, just 2 earned runs. And the Astros offense, I guess there's a 2-day carryover effect from when they score 8+ runs. They scored 11 runs to open up this series. They have 6 runs in the first inning against Alex Big Boy Manoah. They don't do anything Tuesday night. They only get a Yordan Alvarez 2-run homer last night. So we're going to circle back to something that we have been discussing entirely because the Houston Astros are not currently playing in the United States of America. If you've listened to this show enough, Sean Mapes and I have decided that Dusty Baker gets lineup diplomatic immunity because of what he did in the postseason. But it changes when he's in Canada. This is where we are going to, at the very least, take out the magnifying lens and be our best gumshoes and take a look at what's going on. And the night before, Tuesday night, it's no Yainer Diaz who's on fire. Last night, this was my issue. If you're going to simultaneously give off days while trying to stay in the Rangers' rearview mirror, you're going to have a hard time. Now, if you were watching last night, Jeremy Pena got the night off. That one made sense. He had 7 strikeouts in the 2 games before. Golden Sombrero Tuesday night. Mauricio Dumont stepped in. He had 3 of the Astros' 5 hits. That's neat. But Alex Bregman, 1 game removed from a 12-game hitting streak, being benched, I don't get that. And we heard from Dusty Baker before the game. He didn't want to get benched. Said Baker, quote, he never wants a day off. He said his dream is to play 162 games. I say, keep on dreaming. And of course, Bregman deserves a couple of off days over the course of the year. But they started Henry Kissinger at third base. Sean's laughing. That's his name, right?
Yeah. No, it was his MLB debut. He had to wait a long time to get called up. But
really long
Henry
time.
Kissinger's finally in the majors.
I was surprised Henry Kissinger was still alive. But Henry Kissinger, he played third base.
Just celebrated his 100th birthday.
100 years old. Congratulations.
100 years young.
So oldest player in the majors. Great. The Astros making a milestone. Somebody with a lot of, I would say, American relevance. He's playing third base for you. But he goes 0 for 3 with the strikeout. Oh, wait, hang on. I read the Gray Kessinger. I feel bad for the guy. He should never play, especially on a game where Jeremy Pena's sitting out. Who knows what he would have done given that he's in a bit of a slump, it seems like right now. But also, too, Chas McCormick is playing in the outfield. They weren't going up against a lefty and Chris Bassett, who threw like 5 pitches to get through 7 innings. Shouldn't Jake Myers play? I mean, he was 4 for 5 on Monday. I don't want to become a lineup Nazi. I'm not going to be Jeremy Branham retweeting the Astros lineup every single night and saying, what did Dusty do wrong? But I don't like that they're arresting multiple key players on the same night. You can stagger this, can't you? I get that their depth is not great, particularly in the infield, but you had Altuve back. You can make this happen over a series of days. I don't get why 2 guys are out. Do Alex Bregman and Jeremy Pena have the asthma? You know, with all the smoke in the air, and I get it, like the Blue Jays closed the roof, but there's these major fires that are going on in Quebec. So very smoky. I don't know how many people saw the images from New York City. They're, of course, whining about it. Such a tough city that they deal with a forest fire once. Live on the West Coast for literally 5 months in the summer, you will experience it. But anyway, was that the reason that they sat both of them? I don't know. All I know is if Dusty Baker is about keeping the Astros in their rearview mirror, especially when they're playing the Cardinals, and thankfully the Cardinals did beat the Rangers 1-0, so the Astros stay just 4.5 games back of Texas. I don't think you can afford to rest multiple guys. Your lineup just isn't as strong as it was a couple of years ago, right? This is a team that wins with its pitching and amazingly continues to get good pitching despite a starting rotation that right now is, held together with bubblegum and rubber bands. Rodel Blanco gave you enough last night. I'm not saying that if you put in Alex Bregman, you'd definitely get the win, but you had a better chance. You would have. Instead, Chris Bassett takes like 5 seconds to get through the entirety of a game. Commentary in response to Dusty Baker and the lack of lineup immunity that's going on. Are you excited for lineup talk the rest of the season? Because that is the devil's advocate for Dusty just randomly giving a bunch of players off days on the same day, is that we'll have something to talk about given that we're not exactly the most enthusiastic show about baseball.
And I don't think we're not enthusiastic. We're very enthusiastic in the playoffs.
Yeah,
in the playoffs, we're very enthusiastic.
That is true. We loved the playoffs. I had so much fun this past fall talking about the playoffs with you guys. I'm not kidding. Again, we're being honest here. Trust Tree. I really enjoyed it. But the regular season is a bit of a drag.
And the lineup talk, let's be honest, it's low-hanging fruit after a loss.
It is.
And
it's so easy.
Thankfully, Dusty Baker is pulling that branch down to get that fruit lower and lower for us.
Yeah. Someone brought up, King of Twitches, Dusty isn't managing for 97.5's approval. It's a long stretch of games followed by another. He's going to rest guys and lose some games. Well, Dusty does follow me on Twitter.
Does he really?
He actually does follow me on Twitter. If that's his actual account, he follows me on Twitter.
Might not be his real account.
It might not.
Is he verified?
He's got like 15,000 followers. He just never tweets. There's enough people following him where it's actually...
Yeah, does like Brian McTaggart follow him or something?
It's actually plausible.
Okay.
And I think he enjoys when I ask questions the few times I do go out to Minute Maid Park. So are Dusty Baker and me friends? I'm not sure. And see, that's why we give him diplomatic immunity when he's in Canada. Go have a time. There's smoke in the air. You might not be thinking straight. Couple of comments.
Also, it is crazy that they had to close the roof for the smoke in the air. But yesterday's game, or not yesterday, the day before's game, the roof was open.
Yeah.
like in one day, how much did the air quality diminish because of the fire? It
is nuts.
It went from look at this beautiful Toronto skyline to the next day it's like, for safety precautions, we are closing the roof to Rogers Center or whatever it's called.
Sean, it's legitimately crazy. So my mom was driving through it yesterday. My mom lives in the summer on Long Beach Island in New Jersey. So she was driving through New York City to go visit my sister up in Massachusetts. And she drove through it and she's like, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. And I told her, yeah, that was a couple of summers in Seattle for me without air conditioning. There were 2 days where because of all the forest fires in the air, it was like 98 degrees one year. It was 108 degrees the next year. No air conditioning. And if you open your window, it's going to be miserable. So you have to keep your window closed or have a air conditioning unit. And I purchased an air conditioning unit after this all went down because I was like, I'm never dealing with this again. And then I got fired. So it worked out great. But hey, lessons learned in the Astros 3-2 loss last night, because we always can take something out of a loss in life, right? How about this lesson? Sure, winning a baseball game is neat, but you know what's better? Breathing clean air, taking care of the environment, recycling. Does Canada do that? I don't know. Global warming. Lots of comments from Canadians about how, we aren't responsible, and yet they literally set a forest on fire. Was it arson? I don't know. But remember, guys, you got to take care of the environment. Yeah, the Astros lost, but the world, our Mother Earth is more important. You know what else I learned? Baseball might be America's pastime, but it's more important for all of us to get with the times and get to the point. 2 hours and 3 minutes yesterday. How about that? You know what else is important? I learned something yesterday. It's important to be on time. Jose Abreu, I know a lot of people are like, what the hell happened there where he got called for the pitch clock violation and not Chris Bassett? Doesn't matter. You just have to be on time. What would Tom Coughlin do in that situation? He would fine Jose Abreu. Hector Neris, 3-2 count. You end up walking the eventual game-winning run. It's important to be on time. I, for one, cheer for pitch clock violations to be called by umpires. I think it's a great part of our game.